Welcome to the Live in the East Coast.
Thank you very much, guys. You're very, very, very kind. Good evening, and thanks a lot for coming out. They say comedy is all about timing. I'm from Russia. It's a perfect timing to be a comedian. No worries, I come in peace. Everyone calls it stand-up comedy. I call it a special hilarious operation. Yeah. So I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to entertain you. I know for most of you, probably Russian comedian sounds like a ridiculous oxymoron. As if Chewbacca from Star Wars had become a speech therapist. Can you imagine that? Doctor, I have a lisp. That's my Chewbacca joke. Yeah, I usually do it early in the set, just to test the waters. If you all laugh, the night is gonna be great. And if you don't, I find your lack of faith disturbing. It's gonna be great. If you don't like Star Wars jokes, no worries. That's the first and last one. And later in the show, for all of you, there will be a dick joke. And it will save your night. So buckle up. We are in for a ride. I know you don't usually expect Russians to crack jokes on stage. You expect Russians to crack the borders of independent countries. Or your company's security software. Hello, Mikhail. What are you doing during your lunch break? During my lunch break, I break into the Pentagon. I find it hilarious that a native Russian has to fake Russian accent to make this joke work. I told this joke at a corporate show, and there was an IT security manager in the front row. His reaction was, change the password. And I went, too late. So now I'm the IT security manager. In case you're curious, that corporate show was with a tiny little startup called Procter & Gamble. Yeah, maybe some of you heard about this micro SME. And, the organizers briefed me. They said, Artur, we know that you comedians usually just do your best of the best jokes, but the division that celebrates tonight is fabric care and laundry. So it would be really nice if you could do maybe 30 minutes of laundry jokes. Yeah, sure. I mean, we Russians are experts in laundering. Easy. We even have a ministry of laundering. The whole Russian government. Yeah, I told this joke in Russia. That's why I'm here in Singapore. We Russians are quite famous for being grumpy, violent, tense. Maybe we can use some of Procter & Gamble products to soften the fabric of our society. Yeah. Pretty much the same reaction at Procter & Gamble show. The only person hysterically laughing was the organizer who invited me. He's like, I'm getting fired. I changed the password. Too late. So yeah, it was a good gig. Of course, we live in a very, very turbulent times, and you probably heard the news that Vladimir Putin announced partial mobilization for Ukraine, called up 300,000 reservists. Maybe it's my last show tonight. But Russians took it really enthusiastically, because very soon, almost 700,000 just mobilized and left the country. Yeah. Overachieved our mobilization KPIs. I wrote this joke a few months ago, and it's been working well, so I just say 700,000, everyone's ha ha ha. A few weeks ago, I said that, then there is a silence, and then a Russian guy in the audience goes, actually, it's already 1 million. And of course, as you all know, what we comedians love the most is real-time fact-checking of our jokes. So yeah, it was very, very convenient to have a representative of the Russian Ministry of Statistics and Propaganda. As we've proven over and over again with our elections and referendums, stats never lie. Especially when you make them up. Yeah. That's another joke that I did in Russia. That's why I'm here in Singapore. So yeah, many people leave Russia and they try to travel, but it's not always easy when you have a Russian passport. And it's not only because of the war, but also because we live in the pandemic days, right? And there are certain limitations when it comes to vaccines. Most of you probably have no issues, right? Because you have fancy vaccines, like Pfizer or Moderna. But most Russians have Sputnik V. V stands for vodka. Russians recognize only that booster shot. My friends ask me, Artur, how much does it cost to take Pfizer in Singapore? All vaccines are free for everyone here. I said, what? You guys have communism? Of course. That's why we call Singapore Little Red Dot. Yeah. It's one of the clever jokes that you can clap for. Especially when I'm filming it. That would really help. Maybe that's why Netflix never called back. So yeah, of course, it's a bit of a controversial joke. I understand that, and not everyone is laughing. But I'm not sure whether it's the masks that you just wore for too long. You forgot how to laugh. Or maybe you're not laughing because of no freedom of speech. It's the masks, right? I mean, that's why government promotes N95 masks, right? Because they filter 95% of small particles, including dust, viruses, or democracy. So please wear masks. Keep Singapore safe from opposition. Yeah. One day I'll get deported for this joke. Mobilized and deported. So enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, there are a lot of stereotypes about Russians. Of course, a lot of people think that all Russian men are grumpy, militaristic drunkards, which is, of course, just one of the stupid racial stereotypes that is absolutely true. But some stereotypes are more interesting and unexpected. You know, almost every day, I get random connection requests on LinkedIn the largest professional network. People see my name, it sounds Russian, and they automatically assume I'm a cryptocurrency expert. What sort of professional racism is that? And I was even invited to blockchain cruise. Blockchain cruise? You mean like a vessel full of cyber wankers? Wow, tell me more. Yeah. In fact, give me the exact coordinates so I know where to send the missiles. Blockchain cruise sank, lower than Bitcoin prices, and FTX. But the dark irony is that we can't find any dead bodies because they all decentralized. That joke was written on blockchain. I can see some crypto bros enjoying it. Add me on LinkedIn. And of course, one of the ways to fight with stereotypes is also to ridicule them, because some of them are ridiculous. One of my friends recently asked me, Artur, do you think Indian pigeons shake their heads not like this, but like this? So, man, shut up, this is racist. Personally, I'm against pigeon racism. I think there is no difference between Indian pigeons, Chinese pigeons, or Malay pigeons. It's one pigeon, one nation, one Singapore. I really want my Singapore PR. I'm doing my best. I don't know, one of the ways besides making jokes on stage is also try to ridicule those stereotypes in real life. For example, I love coffee. So every time I go to a coffee shop and they ask me, excuse me, what's your name, sir? I say, Putin. Then I just wait for a bit until they shout, Americano for Putin. So happy. Almost cried. I say almost because Russians never cry. As true communists, we save tears for the future death of our paramount leader. And of course, based on current circumstances, this would be tears of joy and happiness. There is a coffee shop downstairs in my office, and they have recently introduced a loyalty program. You buy more coffee, collect points, get free coffee. So one morning, they greet me with the following question. Would you like your coffee for redemption? And in the moment of spiritual enlightenment, I said, yes, Father. No milk, no sugar, just forgiveness. Who doesn't like to start their Monday morning with free redemption, right? It's amazing. So I got my coffee, got my free redemption, extra jokes for my stand-up. So it's like 3-in-1, better than Nescafe, right? So I walk to my office and I see that they just mopped the floor, right? There's a huge wet floor area, and then there is a sign that says safety first. And I'm a foreigner. I want my Singapore PR. I see any sign, I just follow it. Oh, safety first. Put my safety helmet, a mask, condom. That sad, lonely condom that guys carry in their pockets? Just in case, Just in case you walk on the street and, oh my God, what is falling from sky? Sex. So I put it on, I walked through it, didn't fall, didn't break any bones, didn't get anyone pregnant. Works like a magic. I know you're not laughing, but early in the week there was a lady who walked through this wet floor area without any safety devices, and boom, twins. And COVID. Safety first, guys, safety first. No, I didn't fall on that occasion, but unfortunately, right before the pandemic, I broke my collarbone. It happened during football, not the American one, the proper one. The one supposedly invented by British, because they remind us every World Cup, every 4 years. It's coming home, mate. It's coming home. And it's usually their football team that is coming home. Without a trophy. So yeah, I broke my collarbone. I had to wear an arm sling. I tried to do a couple of gigs, but it was too painful. Not because of the fracture, because of my jokes. People made fun of me. Said, "Hey, Artur, we told you break your leg, not your arm." Said, come on, guys. You should have seen the other guy. Not a single scratch. So after a few months, unfortunately, my bones refused to fuse. So I had to do surgery. And my doctor said, "Artur, we're gonna do open reduction, internal fixation with bone grafting." And to me, it sounded as I was in the French fine dining restaurant. Ooh, today's chef's recommendation, open reduction, internal fixation with a bit of bone grafting. That's delicious. I'd like that. So, oh, great. How would you like it to be done? Medium rare? No, surgery, well done. No blood, well done. So they do surgery, I wake up, and I suddenly feel a sharp pain. But not in my clavicle area, but my hip. I was like, whoa, did they just cut my appendix? Is that how good Singapore healthcare system is? You buy one surgery, you get second for free. And then the dark side of my brain kicks in. I was like, oh, no. Probably I get drugged. They will sell my kidney on the black market. It's like, relax, Artur. Most of black market is controlled by Russian criminals anyway. You easily track it down, return it. It would be nice to catch up with my uncle. I haven't talked to him since my last kidney. So I asked the doctor what happened. He said, "What? We told you, bone grafting." I'm sorry, I didn't Google it. So, well, basically what happens is when your bones don't heal by themselves, you need some extra support with extra bone tissue. And your hip area, Artur, is where there's an excessive amount of bone tissue, which to me is a very subtle medical way of saying, "Artur, you are fat." But they don't cut fat, they cut bone tissue. So yeah, it was very, very painful lesson, but I think that what it taught me is that not only hips don't lie, they can also save your ass. And your collarbone. So yeah, that's what I learned. It's going so well, right? Thanks. That was not helping. Thank you. Oh, stop it. Stop holding yourself. Give it more. No. I do these jokes, right? I try to break stereotypes, making these Russian jokes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know? There are still some people who come to me after the shows And they say, "Oh, Artur, thank you very much. I really, really enjoyed your speech." But I have a question. Are you really from Russia? It's like, who in human history have ever pretended to be Russian and benefited from it? It's like, how can it help? Honestly, I think the only situation where it's beneficial to be a Russian is if you're chasing someone for money. Yeah? If your clients don't pay you on time, the next call should come from Russians. Hello. My name is Dmitry. Where is my money? If I don't get it today, I will send the final invoice. His name is also Dmitry. And he only accepts pay now. Go cashless with pay now. Yeah, jokes are available for advertising, by the way. Anyone from DBS? No? Okay. So yes, I am from Russia, but ethnically, I'm actually not Russian. I am a Tatar, which is the second biggest ethnic group in Russia. And we Tatars speak the sexiest language in the world. Yeah. I can see no one is surprised. I'm glad everyone did their homework. But I'll tell you why. Because, you know, for example, Russian language, it has sounds like, ah, oh, ooh. Sounds like someone is beating you. But Tatar language has sounds like, ah, ew. Sounds like someone is beating you. And you keep paying them at onlyfans.com. If you haven't guessed by now, I'm into BDSM, business development, sales, and marketing. I can see quite a few colleagues here. Of course, thanks to these sexy sounds, we Tatars can easily pretend we speak French. Sounds French, right? But in Tatar, it means, if you want to wash, then wash. Oh la la. So hot. So yes, I am Tatar. Remember me the next time you put that sauce on your fish. You know, talking about fish, I recently went to Sentosa Aquarium, and I was standing next to one of those aquariums and eating my tuna sandwich. And suddenly all these fishes, they come really close to the glass. They stare at me, then at my tuna sandwich, and they shout, "No! He killed Nemo! No!" But because they're fish, in real life, it looked like. That's my fish joke. I love doing it because it always splits the audience into two halves. Some of you are laughing, really enjoying it, and of course, you are innovators. Moving ahead of the curve, enjoying fish jokes before they became mainstream. And then there is a majority of you who are like, what the hell was that, Artur? It was a fish joke. Yeah. And most of your reactions were like, yeah. It's a living proof of why I don't do stand-up full-time. It would be financial suicide. I don't know. I love it. I love it because that's what comedy is. You know, it's honest meritocracy. You know, it's just me, you, and the microphone. If I'm funny, you laugh. If I do a fish joke, you silently despise me. So it's a brutal performing arts form with the most immediate feedback loop. Because, you know, if, for example, you want to watch a movie, right? Like the newest Avatar, right? You'll book tickets a few days in advance, right? On the day itself, you'll probably dress up, put makeup on, go to the movies. There'll be 30 minutes of trailers, commercials. Then you finally watch the movie. You go back home, you go online, and you type, that was a shitty movie. But in a comedy show, it'll be like 20 seconds and one of you will shout, that was a shitty joke. Thank you very much. You're very generous. So yeah, it's a very difficult art form and it's very competitive, you know. They say maybe only one out of hundreds, if not thousands of comedians will become a big comedy star. But when it happens, all of you can say, 10 years ago, I saw this Russian comedian. He was not funny. 10 years passed, and he's still doing the same fish joke. Yes, I'll be doing the same fish joke, but I will be on Netflix. So see you in 10 years. If Netflix is still around. Because it might just go bankrupt or go. Right. So yeah, like I always try to break these stereotypes, and you know, it started even during my university days because I studied international relations. I actually wanted to become a diplomat. And of course, as future diplomats, we had to learn foreign languages so other countries can understand us when we declare war against them. So obvious reasons, right? I told this joke on my first day in university. And they said, maybe you should become a comedian. Thank you. Very good career advice. And then they told me that I would study Chinese language. I thought, oh, that's great. China will conquer the world anyway. So maybe it's a good idea to speak their language when they invade us. You know, when they knock on my door, I could open and say, 你好,欢迎来我家。对不起。你们的家. Yeah. If you're not laughing at this joke, it's time to learn Chinese. You're clearly missing out. And the enemy is at the gate. So a Taiwan lady just walked off on that joke. So yeah, I ended up learning Chinese. I even flew to China to study there for 6 months. And I remember before I went there, my father gave me an advice. He said, son, you're already an adult, so don't forget to bring condoms. I said, sure, Dad. I'll just buy them in China. He said, no, look at their population. Buy condoms in Russia. Don't trust Chinese rubber manufacturing. I did it once. Now you have a sister. So I packed my bags with Russian condoms, flew to China. So I'm at the immigration, right? Chinese immigration officer scanning my bags. It's like, look at this Lao Wai. It's like 2 bags of condoms. Clearly, there is a very thin line between confidence and delusion. This is the reason why we built the Great Wall of China. Protect against white men's stupidity. It's clearly crossing the boundaries here. Welcome to China. 欢迎来我们的家. Yeah, that's a callback for those who speak Chinese. It's very funny. It's time to learn Chinese. So I came to China. Of course, I want to impress my Chinese teacher there, right? So in front of the whole class, I confidently said, I came to China by plane. But I mispronounced my tones. So it became, I came to China on a fat chicken. Extra laughs for Chinese speakers. Same ticket price. They're getting their ROI. Time to learn Chinese. So everyone in the room laughed, and my Chinese teacher said, maybe you should become a comedian. Thank you. I've heard it somewhere. So I kept learning Chinese, and at the end of 6 months, I think that's when the real language breakthrough happened. Because one auntie tried to overcharge me at the vegetable stall. And I asked her in Chinese, is it because I'm a foreigner? And she went, oh yeah, 你的话有这么厉害啊? Which means, oh my God, you're so handsome. Roughly. I said, no worries, auntie, no worries. I came to China on a fat chicken. She laughed and said, maybe you should become a comedian. So it was inevitable, it was inevitable. And one of the biggest brand ambassadors of China for many, many years has been Jackie Chan, right? And I've been a big Jackie Chan fan growing up. I wanted to fight like Jackie Chan, want to be funny like Jackie Chan, even broke my collarbone like Jackie Chan. But recently I just lost all respect to him, because I just can't accept the fact that at a certain point in your life, you make a conscious decision to act in a stupid Shopee commercial. Do you remember it? Shopee! What the hell is that, Jackie? It's like ruining my childhood heroes. In this commercial, he looks like 20 years younger than what he is now. It's like it's obvious that it's either a lot of Photoshoppy or a lot of plastic surgery. It's what a waste. And they said that during that stupid commercial and this stupid little dance, Jackie Chan did all stunts by himself. Didn't break any bones. I was so disappointed. Because honestly, I would fully redeem him if I've heard the news that he injured himself during a commercial. Oh yeah, Jackie still got it. I can't imagine just like, outtakes, everyone's just running like, Jackie, are you okay? He's like, haha, I got you. That's rush hour dance. No? It's not your fault, guys. It's, this Shopee commercial was done for 11/11 in November 2021. So it's actually more than 1 year old. And the longer I do this joke, the less laughs it gets. So you might be the last generation of audience members who actually enjoys it. I can see I'm losing all of you. In January 2023, it's not going to be relevant. But you know, the only thing that actually is more annoying about China, besides Jackie Chan's commercial, is Chinese opera. Yeah. You know, Chinese opera is actually in a part of UNESCO heritage list. But I think it should be in the list of official interrogation techniques at Guantanamo Bay. I'm asking you for the last time. Are you a terrorist? No. Oh. All right. I guess we have to do it the hard way. Let the Chinese opera troupe in. All right, guys. 9/11 is on me. Shut up. You know, this is one of the most physically demanding jokes I've ever written. And it's impossible to rehearse it at home. My neighbors call the police on me all the time. Hate Chinese opera. But you know, actually, China was really good. I really enjoyed it, besides Chinese opera. I think that's the place where I actually fell in love with Asia, you know? And after that, I decided to do my master's degree in Singapore. That's when I came here for the first time. I studied international business. We had students from 9 different countries. Very interesting mix, cultural insights, you know. For example, every time there was a topic of corruption, everyone asked Russians and Indians. And we had some sort of informal competition of whose corruption was cooler. You know, in our country, if you want to build a factory, you have to go to the Ministry of Land and bribe someone. In our country, if you go to the Ministry of Land, there is an official price list for bribes. In our country, we also have this menu for bribes, but to see it, you have to bribe someone. I know people ask me, Artur, why don't you do this dialogue in Russian and Indian accents? Would be funny. I said it would be racist. And also, I don't want to reveal the winner in this pointless debate. Let our government solve this corruption problem. So yeah, I started in Singapore. It was great. Then I had to go back to Russia to work for a few years. And in my first part-time job in Russia, I worked as a pirate. No one is surprised. That's what you would expect, right? Of course, Artur, you said you hacked into Pentagon at the start. It was not me, it was Mikhail. I was a pirate entertainer at kids' parties and corporate events. So I literally dressed up in the same costume of a pirate and asked the same question. Who want to play with a pirate? Kids shouted, I want to play with a pirate. And 50-year-old drunk female accountants shouted, oh, I want to play with a pirate. Arr. Take me aboard, Captain. Dig my treasure. Oh, my foot. Yeah, she was drunk. I was young. I needed money. I'm okay now. Because you know, they say, what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. Except STDs and criminal charges. And the fact that it was not in Vegas. It was in Russia. So yeah. I don't know, as ridiculous as pirate entertainer sounds, I personally think that it's still better than most of the modern jobs that we have these days. So, you know, if suddenly I have a heart attack right now, I fall and you start shouting, "Oh no, is there a doctor in the audience?" Most probably the answers would be, "Oh no, sorry, I'm an NFT collector. Sorry, I'm a full-time kombucha brewer. Oh no, I'm a performance artist at onlyfans.com. It's like, what happened to proper working class jobs? You know, a few weeks ago, my washing machine broke down, and an old Chinese uncle came to fix it. And he spent more than 2 hours, you know, like just worked really hard, so hard. I thought, I should probably give him a tip. I said, "Uncle, next time, work smarter, not harder." Become an NFT collector. Tip of the week. I don't know, like I have like family experience because both my granddads, they actually worked in factories. They were working class guys. You know, one was an engineer, but another spent all his life working at a leather drying factory in Soviet Union. Yeah, all his life. The leather was dry. Everyone was drunk. And one day he was so drunk that he lost his winter hat in Russia during winter. It's like a suicide. It was a very, very expensive hat from Yugoslavia. So the hat disappeared. So did Yugoslavia. That's a very rare geopolitical reference from 1990s. It's a very niche joke. Only 3 people enjoyed it. The same people who enjoyed the fish joke. Oh la la. But it's really cold in Russia, right? Like every time I tell people here in Singapore that I am from Russia, they're like, "Oh, Artur, really? How do you feel? Moving from minus 30 degrees to plus 30 degrees. I feel hot. You know, it's so cold in Russia. If you go outside, you cry, you have 2 glaciers down your cheeks. But of course, the only problem is that Russians never cry. As true communists, we never repeat the same joke twice. That joke was a trap. It's cold, it's cold. You know, we actually have the coldest place on Earth. It's called Oymyakon, where the record temperature was minus 72 degrees Celsius. Yeah, minus 72. It's so cold that if you're at home watching Titanic and you see the last scene with drowning Leonardo DiCaprio, you would feel he was in jacuzzi then. Jack, would you like to climb on the door? There is clearly enough space for 2 people. No, I'm good, I'm just chilling. Really cold, really cold. Almost as cold as the hearts of Russian women. Natasha. I tried everything. I thought maybe I can be playful, you know, flirty. Came back home once, said, "Hey babe, have you been a good girl?" She's like, "Oh, I guess it depends on what you mean by good." Like, oh la la. Nothing turns me on more than moral relativism. So we broke up. Yeah. The truth is, we actually broke up due to fundamental religious differences. And of course, from day one, I knew it's a big red flag. But I'm from a communist country. We love red flags there. Just couldn't resist the temptation, you know. She was like a matador, you know. It's like for the red flags. I was like, oh, rushed into it. Broke up, just like the Soviet Union. And Yugoslavia. No. Even the callback doesn't work. Miracle didn't happen. I mean, the original joke didn't work. The reference to the original joke still didn't. You can't divide by 0. You know, what you usually do when you break up with something and someone is you go on dating apps, right? Just to do some market research, right? To check some market penetration strategies. And what I quickly realized that almost every second profile on these dating apps have some sort of variation of the phrase, I'm looking for my partner in crime. What crime? In Singapore. Chewing a gum together? Eating a durian on MRT? Crime in Singapore. Nonsense. And what does it even mean? Partner in crime. Oh, Artur, it's just a very cute way of saying, I'm looking for a life partner. Then say it. Life partner and partner in crime are two different things. The only way they mean the same is if you commit a crime together. You get caught, you receive a life sentence, and somehow you end up in the same prison cell. Yeah, now your partner's in crime for life. And the most romantic thing that could happen to you is if they decide to execute you on the same day. Can you imagine these lovebirds about to be hanged? Oh, they will hang you first. No, hang you first. No, hang you first. And then the hangman, hey, I decide here. Too dark? Relax, it's comedy. You know, some women say, Artur, you don't understand it. I'm looking for a partner in crime because some guys are afraid if I put, I'm looking for a husband. Are you telling me that some guys are more scared of marrying you versus murdering someone? I think you have bigger problems than some linguistic dilemmas. But you know, I might be jaded because I'm Russian, you know. I see looking for a partner in crime. Like, all right, which country are we invading next? Just take it at face value, you know. And if you're like me, then of course you understand that all these dating apps are super dangerous places. So, you know, half of profiles are obviously scammers, and the other half are looking for partners in crime. So where is Singapore police force? They shouldn't be raiding KTVs. They should be on Tinder. This is the largest disorganized, organized crime ring. I don't know, if you're raiding a KTV, let's be honest, it's too late. The crime is already happening. The hostess is already singing into the customer's microphone. But on Tinder, you can prevent it. Oh, I'm looking for my partner in crime. Aha! Freeze! Singapore police force! It's like Pokemon, catch them all. So I think that Singapore police force should create a separate task force just for dating apps. and they should reinvent their main slogan. Watch out. Low self-esteem doesn't mean no self-esteem. You know, I've been in Singapore for almost 9 years, and one of the best things about it is, of course, that you can travel around the region. You know, I went to Bangkok, you know, the city where girls are not always girls, and where ping pong is not a sport. You know, they say Thailand is the land of smiles. It's a land of confusion. You know, in Bangkok, for the first time in my life, I saw a ladyboy. She was talking to an old British guy. They were in some shady, dark alley, and they were arguing about some numbers. It's like 300, now 500. I don't know, probably discussing economic consequences of Brexit. Yeah, so I just left, you know, like the UK. Left. I actually recently went to Phuket as well. I don't know what I realized, that Russia did not invade Ukraine. Russia invaded Phuket. It's like 90% of Russians there. It's like shouting, drinking, violating human rights. Just felt like home. By the way, I apologize for the ladyboy joke, but it was just a low-hanging fruit. Good. I don't know, one of the most fun trips that I've had over all my years in Singapore was to Japan. Because you know, Japan is a very exotic, quirky country. And I was lucky enough to actually do comedy in Japan. So I did a few shows there, and of course, I had different set of expectations about comedy in Japan. Because I thought, oh, maybe since they're so weird, maybe the comedy club in Japan is designed like an imperial palace. The host is dressed up as samurai. All the comedians deliver jokes while sitting in onsen on stage. If you're funny, there are taiko drummers there. And if you're not funny, there is a sumo wrestler just comes and throws you off. This was my expectation about comedy in Japan. But in reality, I ended up performing in a British pub and the US naval base. Yeah. Russian comedian on the American naval base. What can possibly go wrong? No, there was quite a bit of build-up tension in that gig. Of course, I tried to break the ice, you know. I said, come on, Russians, Americans, we're so close, right? For example, both of us used to be great nations. Now we spend most of our time proving to the world we still are, rather unsuccessfully. Yeah, they did not like that. So, oh, come on, Russians, Americans, we even do politics in a very, very similar way, you know? We love helping other countries by invading them. Yeah. We even left the same ex, Afghanistan. No, they did not like that. I thought, okay, I have to go all in. Come on, Russians, Americans, we're so close. We're so close that we Russians even elected your president. So yeah, the show had to end rather prematurely as soon as the ambulance arrived. I know it's a bit of a dark twist for the joke, right? Finishing with violence. Yeah, let's just switch the gears a bit, talk about something light and bright, right? Genocide. Have you ever realized that the biggest crimes in human history were committed by men? Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin, Mao. Putin, no female mass murderers. I thought about it and I realized why. Because all these mass murderers were dictators. That's my dick joke. Carefully disguised as a gender inequality joke, which in turn is disguised as a genocide joke. So it's a Russian doll joke. Yeah, very, very proud of it. No, I told you about this dick joke at the very start, right? So I guess in a way it's like my tennis service. You saw it coming, you can't stop it. I hope it served you well. Okay, no more tennis puns. I might end up in court. Oh. So I've been here for 9 years, right? 9 years, and you know, as a Russian, I feel like home in Singapore because I moved from one democratic country to another. Same, but different. So, you know, our Russian elections is like a broken Tinder. You swipe left, right, doesn't matter. You always get the same match. That's why I feel like home in Singapore. That's why I did not become a diplomat as well. I don't know, I still try to use my diplomatic skills in real life, you know. For example, if I see two people arguing in the street, let's say a ladyboy prostitute and British guy, I just show up. I listen attentively to both parties, make some notes, then just leave, pretending nothing happened. In exactly the same way the United Nations conflict resolution works. No, you're not watching the news? This joke usually kills at UN Security Council. It kind of defeats its purpose. But you know, I did not become a diplomat, that's obvious, right? But I think that I became some sort of Russian comedy ambassador. And I believe in transformational power of comedy. And I hope that some of you tonight will leave the show thinking, oh, maybe not all racial stereotypes are true. This guy is the funniest Russian spy I've ever seen. I don't know, the same way Martin Luther King started his famous speech by saying, I have a dream. Tonight, I would like to finish my speech by saying the same. I have a dream that one day I will catch a beautiful lady when she falls in public transport. It's gonna be very romantic, you know. We are an MRT, at least 1.5 meters away from each other. I smile at her from behind my mask. No idea if she smiles back. And then suddenly, the train brakes. She's losing balance. She's flying next to me. I quickly sanitize my hands and catch her. She says, "Oh, 谢谢帅哥." And then she removes the masks and kisses me. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Lady, I'm afraid I have to take you to a designated stay-home notice facility. Quarantine you all night long. So we get to the hotel. You know, it's all very romantic. There's a heart-shaped towel swan. aroma candles, ART kits. We get in bed. I do my unsafe entry. Forget to check out. We end up making beautiful kids. And I will finally get my PR. Thank you very much, guys. You've been fantastic audience. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Just before I go, I just want to say that I would love to perform some more shows for you guys sometime in the future. So if you would like to follow me, I don't think that my name is very user-friendly. So what I recommend is just Google Russian comedian Singapore, and the magic of search engine optimization will show my website on the first ranking. And I know actually one of my friends recently told me that he just put Russian comedian, and I was already in the top 10 of results. I was so happy. Because, you know, the only goal in my comedy career is that one day someone will just type Russian and the first two results will be Vladimir Putin and Artur Akhmetzyanov. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Keep it going for Arthur, everyone. How good was that shit? That's awesome stuff.